In reality, India faces brutal, state-sponsored terrorism. Yet, modern Bollywood spy thrillers frequently feature Indian agents and ISI operatives shaking hands and teaming up in the middle of a war zone. Audiences are being asked to treat the very agencies responsible for Indian casualties as misunderstood partners, a narrative that feels increasingly disconnected from the country's actual experience. This ecosystem has spent 50 years altering real-life patriotic stories to fit an ideological mold. In the film Razi, the production team removed the protagonist's pride and the national anthem from the final act, directly contradicting the source material to strip away its nationalist core. For decades, the Indian audience faced a cinematic landscape that disrespected their national reality, leaving a massive, unaddressed demand for stories that felt authentic. During the 1980s and 90s, the Mumbai underworld controlled Bollywood through a system of extortion and direct investment. Urduwood Ibrahim and his D Company were the architects of this monopoly. They operated with total impunity, managing their film interests from the VIP stands of international cricket stadiums. Mafia money came with a specific creative mandate. Films were required to glorify gangsters as anti-heroes, while subtly mocking Hindu culture and traditions. This established Urduwood as a propaganda machine, funded by entities that were actively working as enemies of the state. Aditya Dar entered this industry as a Kashmiri pundit, a man intimately familiar with the generational trauma caused by regional terrorism. His early career was defined by the harsh realities of being an outsider. He faced stolen scripts and professional betrayals while struggling to find a foothold in the Mumbai studios. In 2016, the Uri terror attacks occurred, just as Dar was preparing for his directorial debut with Dharma Productions. The resulting boycott of Pakistani artists effectively killed his project, leaving him at a professional dead end. The geopolitical realities that the industry had spent decades trying to sanitize on screen had just derailed his career in the real world. Dar pivoted immediately. He spent 12 days channeling his military research and personal history into a script for Uri, the surgical strike. He removed the good ISI tropes common in Bollywood and replaced them with a tactical, unapologetic depiction of Indian military retaliation. In his follow-up, Dhurandhar, he targeted the underworld mythos directly. He depicted Dawood Ibrahim as a pathetic, dying man rather than a glamorous Don. The financial returns were undeniable. Uri earned 350 crore on a small 28 crore budget, and Dhurandhar crossed the 1,300 crore mark. These numbers challenged the long-held industry belief that anti-national themes were necessary for commercial success. The HUD proved that unapologetic patriotism is a massive financial driver. This commercial success changed the internal math for production houses. The profit potential of pro-Indian stories forced a shift in which projects were getting greenlit. Filmmakers like Vivek Agnihotri and Rishabh Shetty found massive success by tapping into this newly awakened audience, delivering stories that the old model had ignored for years. S.S. Rajamouli further demonstrated that civilizational themes and Hindu imagery could drive global blockbusters, proving these stories have a universal appeal. Studios are now financially incentivized to champion pro-Indian content. The sheer scale of these box office returns has forced the industry to prioritize the perspective of the Indian viewer. Hollywood has served as America's primary soft power tool for decades, projecting its values and interests to a global audience. For much of its history, Bollywood's ties to the underworld turned the industry into a weapon that worked against Indian interests and culture. By shattering that ideological monopoly, Aditya Dar and his contemporaries have opened a path for a new generation of filmmakers to tell authentic stories. Indian cinema is beginning to function as a major cultural tool, capable of projecting the country's own reality to the world on a multi-billion-dollar scale.